coming up on Retirement Solutions Television.
Here's how we define reliable, Mark. Reliable is not the brand new business that you just started yesterday since you're transitioning into retirement. We want to make sure that that money is there so that you're not sweating it out at night and thinking, where's that check going to come from?
20 years down the road, what's my budget going to be? But when we create the BOSS Retirement Blueprint, again, BOSS stands for Build the Optimal System of Security. We want to ensure that not only when you retire, we've got your income taken care of, but down the road, we continue to make sure you have the same standard of living.
We would invite you to just simply ask yourself, what risk are you taking and how much are you paying in fees?
And now your hosts of Retirement Solutions Television, the Retirement Brothers, Tyson and Ryan Thacker.
Hi, and welcome to Retirement Solutions Television. My name is Ryan Thacker, along with my brother Tyson Thacker. We are the Retirement Brothers.
We've got a great show for you today, and it starts right here, right now.
Welcome to this week's Retirement Roundtable, where I am accompanied, as always, by Ryan and Tyson Thacker. Guys, we have a great topic, and you know, when we were on break, I was looking this over. This is so simple, and it's your retirement, the BOSS Retirement Blueprint. And like you say, we like to keep it simple for everyone, and after all, that's what folks want today. They don't want these overcomplicated financial plans that they can't execute. So we're going to talk about this today. As you'll see here, this is the one-pager that you would receive just as if you came into the office. And this is what we're going to be talking about. So Ryan, tell me, what is the BOSS Retirement Blueprint?
Well, Mark, there was a great movie, Back to the Future, and Doc hits his head and he wakes up and he sees the flux capacitor, right? The flux capacitor was what made time travel available.
Yes.
If you look at what matters most in retirement, we wanted to create a one-page, simple summary that would help you be able to understand clearly where you are with your money, what it's doing for you currently right now. Sometimes it's not in the right place. And then number two, help you design a plan to get where you want to go, your dreams, your goals. What are your fears and your concerns? And that one-page blueprint, Leonardo da Vinci, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The blueprint is it. And when you come in and meet with us at our office, you're going to receive your own individualized copy. And what it does, it looks at the 5 critical areas that you have when you worry about your money in retirement. Number one is that cash reserve. If something happens, if I need to replace a roof, go buy a car, you've got the ability to know where that money is going to come from. Then bucket number 2 is income. Knowing where that reliable income is going to go during retirement and how that's going to be generated. Number 3, this old man inflation, it's going to happen, so we need to have a strategy for inflation. And then we're going to look at growth, what risk you're taking, what are the investments that you currently have, are those going to be okay? And then the last thing is legacy. You've spent a lifetime, the last 30, 40, maybe even 50 years working in retirement or working to get to retirement. Now we want to make sure that you have a clear picture of where you are right now.
Great, and why don't we take these one bucket at a time? The first one on here, Tyson, is cash.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Cash is simply your emergency fund. How much do you have set aside to ensure when you have a problem, when you have an emergency, that you can grab something within a day or two? Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be in a money market account or a savings or checking account. It could be in a 401k or an IRA, just as long as you have access to it pretty quickly.
Can I have it under my mattress? Can I put that?
Mark, if you want to have it under your mattress, you can, but
We
most
call it the
people,
mad money.
Yes.
most people have it somewhere else,
Yes.
earning a little bit of interest.
And is there like a guideline? Should it be 6 months of, you know, what my budget is, 1 year, 18 months? Do you guys recommend a particular amount of money that way?
It definitely should be working its way up to 6 months.
Okay.
And not only that, you think about if you're younger than 65, depending on what you're earning, it could be anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. Now that may sound like a lot, but I just recently had a client who had a heart attack, and 3 days later, after they left the hospital, they owed $150,000. You know, and so as a result, you need to make sure you've got enough. If you're over the age of 65, you got to have somewhere between 50 and 80, and in all cases, at least 6 months.
And Ryan, let's talk about bucket number 2 here, and that's income. And you've got Social Security income shortage in this bucket. Tell me about that.
Well, this really boils down to where the money is going to come from. We know that we have, for most families, Social Security, maybe a pension, but for most families, just a third of your income is being covered by Social Security. So where's the rest? If I'm spending $5,000 a month in retirement, let's say that's my lifestyle, and that's how we define the initial target, I need $5,000 a month to pay for my lifestyle. Where's that going to come from? If I have $2,000 coming from Social Security to the husband, $1,000 coming in Social Security for the wife, that's $3,000. We're $2,000 a month short, or $24,000 a year short. Where's that money going to come from? And here's how we define reliable, Mark. Reliable is not the brand new business that you just started yesterday since you're transitioning into retirement. We want to make sure that that money is there so that you're not sweating it out at night and thinking, where's that check going to come from? Really, when you think about it, Mark, retirement is just permanent unemployment.
So regardless of how the market swings, we're talking about that secure money, or what some folks call the mailbox money.
That's right. Mailbox
It's
money,
a month after month, regardless of what takes place, that is going to be safe and secure for you.
That's right.
Inflation. Now,
It's a big one, right?
this is a big one.
And most people don't even think about it. But every single year, Mark, the 100-year average for inflation is 3.28%. So Ryan just talked about somebody who has a budget of $5,000. Too many people say, look, I've got $5,000, I'm going to be able to live off that the rest of my life. But most people are living in retirement at least 20 years. If you're a married couple, one of you is going to live 30 years in retirement on average. And so over that 20-year time period, that $5,000 is going to double to $10,000. And so you've got to be prepared to make sure you can keep buying those eggs, keep buying that gallon of milk, and make sure that you have the same lifestyle that you've grown accustomed to.
My next bucket, the fourth one here, is growth. Tell me about growth, because that's still important too. In retirement, it can't just be getting the monthly check. We should have some growth in there. Right, Ryan?
Mark, the biggest challenge that most families have when they come into our office is they are still in that accumulation phase. They're just putting the money together. They've been going to work, putting 3, 4, 5, 10% into their 401k, and they think that's just how it works. Well, there's a big transition that happens at retirement. We call it the retirement red zone. In football, you get into inside the 20-yard line, that's the red zone in football. It's no different when it comes to your retirement money. We don't want to fumble the ball away right at the goal line before we get to retirement. And the challenge with that is many of you don't realize what risk you're taking with your money. If the stock market goes down like it did in 2001 or 2008, how much are you going to lose? And so properly positioning, while at the same time, we need to maintain that requirement of having gains that beat inflation. And so that balance in understanding risk, but also the return, helping you in that growth bucket understand and design a strategy that makes you sleep well at night.
Tyson, I'm going to wrap up with you. And my last one here is legacy.
Yeah, legacy is important too, Mark, because we've really got 3 different types of people that usually walk through our door. The first group says, look, I've worked really hard for this, and by the end of my life, I really want to bounce that last check to the undertaker. I want to spend everything that I have.
Sure.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, somebody says, you know what, my parents helped me out, and I want to, even if I live at a little bit of a lower standard of living through retirement, I want to make sure I leave something to the kids. And then right in the middle are where most people fall, which is, I don't want to be a burden to my kids. And so if I can focus on living my life with the money that I have, if there's anything left over, great. But if not, that's okay too. The bottom line is making sure with whatever's left over, whether it's home equity, whether it's retirement accounts, that we do this and pass it on efficiently to the next generation.
Tyson, Ryan, thanks so much, guys. Hey, don't go anywhere. We got a lot of great stuff to come. You're watching Retirement Solutions Television, Utah's Retirement TV.
Having no clear retirement plan is a mistake I see a lot in my financial planning office when I meet someone for the first time. It is extremely rare that someone comes in and has a clearly defined income plan for his or her retirement. One way you'll be able to get a clearly defined retirement income plan is to talk to an independent financial advisor who specializes in retirement planning. Not someone who specializes in getting you to retirement, but someone who is dedicated getting you through retirement. If you don't have a clear retirement plan, then be one of the first 5 callers and you'll receive a free complimentary planning review. There's no obligation and no cost if you have at least $200,000 saved for retirement. Here's what you'll receive: a free report to sort through your current advisor costs, a tailored plan to guard your investments, tax analysis to reduce your tax liability and increase your cash flow, and a customized income plan to boost your retirement. Plus, you'll receive a budget assessment to help you manage your cash flow. So call now for your free, no obligation financial review.
You're watching Retirement Solutions Television, Utah's Retirement TV. Tyson, tell me, what is this week's tip from the boss?
Mark, I love today's tip from the boss. It goes back to the foundation of the Boss Retirement Blueprint, something that most people overlook. It's the cash bucket. The reason why it's the foundation is because it's so important to ensure that you don't destroy the rest of your plan because something unexpected happens. Now let's talk about what you need to put in that cash bucket, the amounts that are going to be important to you. First and foremost, it's important to understand that you ought to work towards 6 months worth of extra cash sitting in that cash bucket. But let me even get more specific. If you're under the age of 65, we like you to have a range somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. Why? Because life happens. You may have a child that needs something from a medical emergency standpoint that became unexpected. You may need to help your parents. You may need to help somebody that is unexpected. Now, if you're over the age of 65, that amount goes up. It goes from $50,000 to $80,000. Now, in a lot of cases, the reason why is because there are not going to be, really what it boils down to is life happens even more expensively at that time period. And not only that, but you need to make sure, we had a client come in not too long ago whose budget was pretty high. Most people aren't going to be this high, but in his case, it was $20,000 a month. Now, you think about $20,000 over a 6-month time period, that's substantially more than what we're talking about for the majority. So use each of those rules of thumb, whether it's 6 months, whether it's below the age of 65 or above the age of 65, and you'll be set. And that is today's tip from the boss.
You're watching Retirement Solutions Television, Utah's Retirement TV.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you're here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it. And leave some for those you love. So what do? Wall Street continues to be uncertain, and some conservative options have dropped through the floor. How do you maintain opportunities for growth and reduce risk of loss from market changes? That's where we come in. We are financial professionals. From investments and insurance products to tax reduction strategies and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, provided by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. You've worked a lifetime to get here. Let us help you enjoy it to the fullest. For a complimentary consultation, simply contact us today. Remember when life was simpler? When things didn't move quite so fast, and the world didn't seem so complex? Remember that? We do. And as the world around us has continued to speed up, becoming more complicated, and still a bit uncertain, we have managed to keep things simple, providing sound, easy-to-understand financial advice and customized roadmaps for the road ahead, from tax reduction strategies, investment advice, and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, backed by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. We can be your single point of contact, a single call, a voice you recognize well, and a partner who can be by your side for the entire journey. We can't stop the world around us, but we can help ensure you're prepared for what's to come. To schedule a no-obligation meeting, simply contact us today.
You're watching Retirement Solutions Television, Utah's Retirement TV.
This week, I want to share with you the concept of our financial house. This really goes back to the days where you heard the story that the wise man built his house upon the rock. versus the foolish man building his house upon the sand. And the difference between those two as it relates to your own financial house, really your own retirement as you go to and through retirement as well. This becomes such an overarching important concept. I really want you to be thinking about your own money, thinking about your own situation and what questions that you have that you'd like addressed as you come into the office or visit the website. So the whole concept is this. The very first thing that you need to do is make sure that you have a really strong foundation. This really boils down to making sure that you've got an income plan that you can never outlive. Ensuring that you know where that income's coming from, whether that's dividend-paying stocks, whether that's an annuity, whether that's whatever the case may be, bonds, that we have income that you know is going to create that stable foundation. Now, next, what's the next thing on the Boss Retirement Blueprint? I'll say it with me, inflation. Inflation is what ends up happening over time. If you've got a budget of $5,000 when you retire, over a 20-year time period, that's going to increase. It's literally going to double because inflation is at 3.28% as it sits right now on a 100-year average. Think about that. Most people never think 20 years down the road, what's my budget going to be? But when we create the Boss Retirement Blueprint, again, BOSS stands for Build the Optimal System of Security. We want to ensure that not only when you retire, we've got your income taken care of, but down the road, we continue to make sure you have the same standard of living. Now, the last piece of the house, when we're building this entire house, is growth. That's another piece on the Boss Retirement Blueprint. But think about it. When we're building this house, we don't just start by throwing up some plywood and really just starting to hammer. We have a blueprint that we put in place. We want to make sure that when we build this house, we build it strong from a foundation standpoint. We have walls that can weather the storm. And then finally, we put that roof on the house that helps with the growth for your money. Growth is an important concept, but for most financial advisors, that's all you get. Think about your situation right now, whether it's in a 401k or whether you're with an advisor. Do you have income that you can never outlive? Do you have inflation as a piece of the puzzle? And lastly, do you have growth? In other words, in most cases, what ends up happening with a plan is you have this roof, and that's all you've got. What happens over here? There's no foundation. There's no walls. There's nothing to support that growth. And when a financial storm happens, when you've got a situation where the market goes down by 50% and it's got to come back by 100% just to break even, that foundation's not there. You have the equivalent of building your house upon the sand. As a result, where does that put you for the rest of your retirement? How do you ensure that you're doing the right thing for you and your spouse? After all, if you're a husband watching today and you pass first, what's going to happen to your wife? Is that a consideration? I know all of you want to make sure that you take care of her and that you make sure that she's got everything that she needs, whether you're there or not. That's all part of building that foundation. That's all part of building those walls. And then lastly, that growth still is so important to outpace inflation and make sure that you can leave a legacy to the next generation. As it relates to the financial house, make sure that you are a wise person and have built your financial house upon the rock, ensuring that you are where you need to be both now and all the way through your retirement. If you have any questions, please visit our website or come in and let's start a conversation.
You're watching Retirement Solutions Television, Utah's Retirement TV.
Having no clear retirement plan is a mistake I see a lot in my financial planning office when I meet someone for the first time. It is extremely rare that someone comes in and has a clearly defined income plan for his or her retirement. One way you'll be able to get a clearly defined retirement income plan is to talk to an independent financial advisor who specializes in retirement planning. Not someone who specializes in getting you to retirement, but someone who is dedicated getting you through retirement. If you don't have a clear retirement plan, Then be one of the first 5 callers and you'll receive a free complimentary planning review. There's no obligation and no cost if you have at least $200,000 saved for retirement. Here's what you'll receive: a free report to sort through your current advisor costs, a tailored plan to guard your investments, tax analysis to reduce your tax liability and increase your cash flow, and a customized income plan to boost your retirement. Plus, you'll receive a budget assessment to help you manage your cash flow. So call now for your free, no obligation financial review.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you're here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it. And leave some for those you love. So what do? Wall Street continues to be uncertain, and some conservative options have dropped through the floor.